Maintenance guys. Strangers who have a free pass to come into your home, whoever they may be, whatever they may have done in the past. They check your sink, fix your shower, check you out. Grab a blanket, turn off your lights, and let's hear 4 stories where maintenance workers were less friendly and more creepy. The Maintenance Man. A few years ago, the company I work for gave me the option to move to another state. I had a few reasons to want to move, so I packed up my stuff and found myself in a new apartment. Arriving to work, I found myself in an understaffed apartment that was also neck deep in a large project and several audits all at once. Due to working 16 hours a day, with a day off once or twice a month, I had little time to unpack. It was my 4th month living there. I began to notice odd peculiarities happening around my apartment. I would look in my fridge or freezer for something specific that I intended to eat, and it wouldn't be there. I figured I must have already ate it, and forgot. Unpacked boxes and pieces of furniture moved around. I must have moved them, and not remembered due to being sleep deprived. A blanket and pillow left on my couch. I must have crashed real hard at some point. But when did I have time to hook up my game systems, let alone start playing anything? I started thinking that I was losing my mind. By the beginning of the 5th month, I had survived the heavy workload and was finally given more than 1 day off. Caffeine would no longer be my primary food group. I got home and pulled out a stack of mail that had built up in the mailbox, mostly junk mail except for a few bills, electric, rent, and cable. I tossed them on an end table for later and dive-bombed onto my bed. I was going to try and set a sleeping marathon world record. Burrowed into my bed like a tick, I was dead to the world while having a reoccurring dream and nightmare about Billy Idol. I never heard my front door open or my television turning on. I woke up confused, hearing someone say, "Pizza delivery! Did you order one with a giant sausage?" And then Bo Chicka Bow Wow music. I laid there in a sleepy, half-confused state for a minute, until I heard someone close the door to the bathroom. I immediately jumped out of bed and checked to see if what I was hearing was really happening. Someone was watching porn on my TV, and they were at the moment using my bathroom. A cold rage overtook me at how someone could just be sitting in my place doing this. I owned several firearms. They were the first thing I unpacked and locked up. I grabbed my pistol and walked up to the bathroom. As the intruder was opening the door, I stuck the pistol in his face, and he turned white as a ghost. I'm sure if he hadn't just used the toilet, he would have pissed himself just then. He looked at me wide-eyed and sputtered out, Maintenance, I'm maintenance." I looked at him and saw him carrying a radio on his hip. "This doesn't look..." I gestured to the TV, like any maintenance I've ever heard of. "Call the manager or your boss on the radio and tell them to come over here." He got on his radio and called for someone to come to the apartment. "Can't we just talk about this?" He tried reasoning with me. "Shut up," I said, getting more pissed by the second. The minutes dragged on awkwardly as we stared at each other, and the movie behind me switched to a scene where some woman was commenting about a plumber's large tool. The new music selection of the movie and someone faking an orgasm was not improving my mood. He stood there fidgeting while I contemplated just getting it over with by just shooting him and going back to bed. Finally, someone knocked on the door. "Come in!" I yelled. The head maintenance guy walked in and immediately stopped when he realized the situation he was just presented with. What's going on here?" "Your guy decided to let himself in and get comfortable and started watching..." I gestured to the TV. "That." The head maintenance guy stood there speechless. I could tell the wheels in his head were grinding away. He finally spoke up. Can we all go down to the manager's office and talk about this?" I looked hard at the other maintenance guy. I agreed and told him I never wanted to find the guy in my apartment again. They left, and I started getting dressed to go to the manager's office. I was getting ready to walk out when an alarm started going off in my head. "Check your cable bill," it told me. I opened it and was astounded at how many papers were in one envelope. Page after page of pay-on-demand videos had been ordered in the course of a month. I looked at the movies and were presented with a creatine collection of titles such as College Sluts with Big Butt 7, Dr. Bootylicious 3, and Evil Head 2. He watched a few regular movies on the side like Happy Scrappy Hero Pup, but the bulk of his ordering was nothing but porn. It was even better because it showed all the dates and times the videos were ordered. Every single film that was ordered was when I was at work. I called the police to meet me at the manager's office. Armed with proof, I marched my disheveled self straight into the office. At first, they tried to say that he was there for maintenance, and that I would be in trouble for pulling a gun on him. The oh shit button was pressed when I showed them my cable bill, and the fact that I had proof that I was at work at those times. I had caught him in the act, and I called the police to press charges, made them see things my way. A frenzy of calls to their corporate offices were placed. I would find out much later that the maintenance guy was caught walking into other people's apartments and saying he had walked into the wrong apartment. There were various complaints that things would come up missing or random pay-on-demand videos were ordered. There were other various complaints about him peeping in windows of female tenants that lived alone and becoming aggressive by cornering them outside their apartment and wanting to talk. I know I probably should have sued and would probably have my name as the owner of the apartment complex. I was tired and just wanted to get things over with. They paid for my cable and utilities for the year, gave me several months rent-free, and the rest of the year at a steep discount. They sent a cleaning company to clean my furniture and apartment. The head maintenance guy and I ended up cool. We started talking because he has a 40K double-headed eagle tattoo. He may or may not have been the one who unofficially told me about the maintenance guy being in other people's apartments and the complaints. Later, I would realize that he could have started stealing my belongings other than food, and I wouldn't have noticed. It was probably that most of my belongings were still in boxes, that he was too lazy to rifle through them. I don't know how long he was in my apartment while I slept. I could have awakened to something much more horrific, though. Maintenance man. So this is my first time posting, and this just happened today. Sorry if it's not too creepy, but it was to me. I recently moved into an apartment complex a couple months ago, and it's been great. The only thing is that there was a water main leak in my apartment, but the maintenance people were very quick to take care of everything. My story starts a couple weeks ago when the guy came to fix it. I was out on the patio and came back inside after a smoke, and he had already let himself in. He was a white guy that looked about 6'2" and had an accent that sounded close to Swedish. He was holding one of my cats, and when he saw me come in, he put the cat down and said to me, "Oh, I knocked. I'm here to fix the leak. Oh, sorry, I knocked." And kept going on about how he was sorry and how he knocked and how he was here to look at the leak. I was like, okay dude, just go fucking fix it. So he fixes it and leaves. A couple days later, he comes back, and this time, I was in the shower when he came in. I heard him knocking on the front door, and then let himself in from my room, and decided that it must be the maintenance man coming back to check the water main. No big deal. He checked it, then left. I'm watching TV about a week ago. My couch is right by the front door, and someone tries opening my front door. Luckily, it was locked, and I quickly deadbolted it. Looking through the peephole, I see it's the same guy. There's no way I'm letting him in, since he tried to open my door before even knocking. I mean, who does that? He then knocks on my door and then rings the doorbell and then unlocks my door with his key. But fuck him, it's dead bolted. He then realizes he's not getting in, so he locks it back and leaves. I haven't seen him since. This has been bothering me since it happened, and I told my mother and brother about it, and they didn't think it was a big deal, so I just brushed it off. And then, last night I had a nightmare about him, so I called the office about an hour ago and talked to the main lady at the leasing office of my apartments and told her what had happened. She sounded concerned as well and informed me that the guy I'm describing is just a painter and that he shouldn't have come back so many times and that she would be calling someone about it. So creepy Swedish painter, let's not meet again. Late night shower maintenance. In my first year of university, I lived in one of the shadier and cheaper on-campus dorms with one roommate. The building style was like motel, so all the room doors were exposed to the open. We had a window too, with blinds, so if the lights were either on or off, anyone outside could probably tell. My roommate and I lived on the first floor, at the far end of the building, next to the study room and laundry room, so we were pretty isolated. One weekday night, during our second semester, she and I went to bed early as usual. We turned off all the lights, latched our door, and then slept. Hours later, at around midnight, we woke up to somebody knocking loudly on our door and then jiggling the door handle. She and I stayed completely silent, already knowing that something was off. When the person knocked the second time, we asked who it was. A man answered, claiming that he was the maintenance and that he was coming to fix our shower. We told him that we never submitted a work order to have our shower fixed, and that ours worked just fine. He said that he still wanted to come in and take a look at it. We told him to come back tomorrow morning at a more reasonable time. He then insisted that he have a look at it now, because he had already come all the way over and told us sternly to let him in. We still refused and asked him to please leave and come back the next day. Then, we hear the sound of a key sliding in and unlocking the door. Luckily, the door was latched, so the man could not come in. The two of us instantly started screaming at him to go away and leave us alone, while frantically searching for something to defend ourselves with. He then closes the door and backs off. Then we hear him talking to a radio of some sort and he says, "I can't get in. They have a second lock." Shortly after, he leaves without another word. The two of us wait for a bit with a dim light on, check through the blinds to see if anyone is still there, and then run to our RA's room a few doors down to report what had just happened. He told us he would take care of it, and that he would look out for any shady people by our room. My RA never told us what happened afterwards, so we have no clue about what ever happened to that maintenance guy. Nobody ever tried to break into our room during the rest of the year, and we both moved out for good, into nicer dorms. Intrusive maintenance guy. Let's never meet. Naked Flower Thief. Hello everyone. This is my first time posting anything of any length, so hopefully I don't screw up the formatting. Anyways, I used to work in a pretty decent sized office building. There were two maintenance guys there every day to do the cleaning and stuff around the building. An older one and a younger one. The younger one was kind of strange. He never really talked to anyone and mostly stared at the floor when he walked around. I'm a polite person, so I'd sometimes say hello when passing. It got to where he'd say hello to me first and hold doors open for me. I never thought anything of it, as it's normal polite behavior. Fast forward a few months later, I started coming in each morning to find a single rose left on my desk. I had a boyfriend who worked there at the time, and I know him well enough to know that he wouldn't do something like that. We aren't terribly romantic. Neither my coworker who came in at opening or my coworker who left at close ever saw anyone leave the roses, so that meant someone was doing it either after hours or very early in the morning. After about a week or two of roses, a lady across the room filed a complaint that someone was taking roses from her bouquet her husband would send her regularly. She was missing exactly the same number of roses I had found on my desk. I got really creeped out at the idea of some rando leaving stolen roses on my desk. I also returned them to her, but this is where it gets interesting. Management checked the camera due to the rose lady's complaint, and guess what they find? Lo and behold, the younger of the maintenance guys, butt naked, walking around the building. Naked, stealing a rose, and naked, sitting in my chair. I was never given further info if he ever engaged in more disturbing acts while sitting in my chair completely naked, and I don't want to know. Rumor has it there was also very questionable and inappropriate content found on the browser history of the computer he was allowed to use in the maintenance office. Creepy maintenance dude was fired on the spot. I got a new chair as soon as possible, and strongly considered burning all the clothes I'd worn while sitting there. So, scary neckbeard naked flower thief, I hope we never meet again.